The running back debate just continues to happen, and I've already said that I believe it's the running back revolution, and we should do everything possible to make sure it doesn't end up with our star players ending up sitting out a season, because we don't need that. That's not good for the league. That's not good for fans. That's just not good for the game, period. And I've had the argument. I've had the debate. I believe people have points right on each side. I will always be in support that running back should be paid. That's where my stance is. I agree with the players that are wanting to be compensated for their work. Now, to me, the only argument most people have had pertaining to running backs is their shelf life. I don't believe there's any other argument other than that people have kind of presented as a reason, an asterisk, why a team wouldn't want to pay a player what they're asking for. The shelf life thing has some validity to it, right? There has been some facts of the older they get, they decline in play and all these things. But other than that, what else is the argument as to why you wouldn't pay two of your top running backs in the league? And I'm specifically talking about Saquon Barkley and Josh Jacobs, because whatever happens with them will be something that carries on for the rest of the NFL. They will be setting a tone and a precedent for something that I don't even think many understand, that if this actually works out in their favor, it could change a lot of things. If it doesn't, it could change a lot of things, right? Good or bad. This is what I'm saying. I understand that the game of football has went away from a running game. It's not a running dominant league anymore. It's very much, can you air the ball out? Can you get these exciting plays? Can you play maybe even faster and up tempo? Do you have wide receivers? I understand all of that. But there was a time where running backs dominated the league. And my perspective, is that the running back is still one of the only players that touches the ball as much as the quarterback does. So there is value in the position, but you don't want to pay for the value of the position. The game is won in the inches. It's won in the yards. The inches and yards, the running backs have a lot to play in that. If your passing game isn't working, what are you going to do? You're going to turn to your running game. So this is what I'm saying. If two of your top running backs in the league, we're talking about Josh Jacobs and Saquon Barkley, and if you don't believe me, you check out the stats. Josh Jacobs had 1,600 something rushing yards last season. Led the league in rushing. The two behind him, Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb. Right behind those two is Saquon Barkley with over 1,300 yards. Both of them aren't even 27 yet. So is it crazy that they're both saying, I don't want to take this franchise tag for you to maybe give me 10.9, 11 million for 1 year? If you're saying that my shelf life is declining, I touch the ball more than anybody else other than the quarterback, I'm the one that's putting all these miles and all these injuries on my body, but you want me to accept a 1 year franchise tag to make less money. I could injure myself, and you want me to still give you the same value, even though your only argument to me is that, oh, because you have this shelf life, because y'all get injured more, I'm not going to actually give you the money you're asking for, the contract that you're asking for. Make it make sense. So do I think it's crazy that now they're like, I'll sit out? No, because if everyone keeps telling them, well, the reason you're not going to get the money is because y'all get injured more, I don't think it's crazy that they're probably like, well, if you're saying that's the reason why, I would rather not even play then until a team wants to give me my money. Why would I want to go out and risk a year of injury, as you're saying, and I'm pretty much getting underpaid? So you want me to give you all this work, all that I've done, and get underpaid. And people aren't understanding that. That's what I think the argument sometimes is just not making sense, because we're not talking about two guys that aren't top 5 in rushing yards. Like, that's not what we're talking. We're talking about two of the best. And my whole thing with the Giants is, can you really see yourself being the best team you could be without Saquon Barkley? I'm looking at the Raiders like, do you think you could really be the best team you could be without Josh Jacobs? He won you games single-handedly sometimes only by his rushing. Like, I guess I'm just confused because, yes, even though it's not a running league anymore, if you have two running backs like that on your roster, you pay them. You make sure that they're compensated. You make sure that they're okay and good to go, because they are the ones that are driving this team when your quarterback probably can't even pass the ball, when he can't make the right read, what are you going to do? You're going to look towards them. And because they are saying to you, hey, you're telling me I'm putting all these miles on my body as a running back, and you're saying that that's why you don't want to pay me, but you want me to take less than what I deserve and put those miles on my body? That makes zero sense. So now we're in this predicament, right? We're trying to see what's going to happen. Josh Jacobs has been reported that he's not going to training camp. Saquon Barkley is pretty much working out in Phoenix. You know, like, these are the realities of what we're living in, and I don't think these running backs are wrong for a lot of them around the league standing up for this, because now their market is undervalued. It's a depressed market for running backs, and it makes zero sense, because as much as people want to say it's not a running game, and sure, it may not be, a lot of teams that end up in deep playoff runs have to have some type of running game. Simple as that. At some point, you're going to have to look at your running back to be able to produce for you when your passing game is not working. Your passing game is not going to work every single time. It's not possible. At some point, you're going to say, man, I wish I had Josh Jacobs. Man, I wish I had Saquon Barkley. And if we're even going to get even deeper into the realm of the money in the league, it's a betting league now. It's a betting league. Sports betting is one of the biggest things. Most of the money that they are generating in sports betting is coming from fantasy points. Who's leading most of the fantasy points in position? Running backs. So if we're even talking about that plays a part. So you're telling me that position doesn't matter, but that is one of the top positions that's actually in the sports betting world when it comes to fantasy time and football time? That's all I'm saying. There's more value to the position which people are failing to admit. Sure, it may be one of the lowest shelf life positions people like to say. Sure, they might get more injuries than some. Sure, they're putting more miles on their body. But at the end of the day, what is a team without a running back? That's all I'm saying. So in my case, pay the guys. Pay them. We're sitting here giving rookie running backs who haven't even touched the field yet in the NFL guaranteed 4-year, $30-something million. And a guy who is leading the league in rushing and the fourth guy who's leading it are both asking for more than a franchise tag 1 year for 10.9, maybe 11 million, and that is asking for too much. And people are bringing up their age, and they're not even both 27 yet. Make it make sense. I'm in support of the running backs. I hope they get the money they deserve.